how are you today? So, today we are going to be talking about a few different things. Oops, started on the wrong screen there. No, life is hard. Well, first of all, I am going to start off with an update on last night's live with Safety Boutique. And then next, I'm going to talk a little bit about my hair routine. And then third, we're going to get into the meat of what the main portion of this live stream is about. I am going to use a creator as an example, but this is not like necessarily a call out to this creator for reasons I still need to process, including I don't feel like dealing with her creators. But I don't think I like the creator that we're going to be talking about today. And it's Ingrid Arna, by the way, for anyone who knows who she is. So we're going to be looking at her marketing and at her YouTube videos and how she is advertising herself with her whole concept of manifestation of wealth. So I am going to talk a bit about how I don't like her and why I don't like her and kind of stuff like that. But the main point of this live stream isn't really going to be about her even. It is going to be about her to a point, but it's going to be more focused on what the fuck she's saying and the concepts that she is saying and why I disagree with what she's talking about in terms of business. And then I'll also be talking about what I do agree with too, because obviously to make it, like, you can't get through business, you can be the scammiest, shittiest person ever, but you're not going to have like a successful business if you don't know something about how to do a good business. Like, it doesn't negate the harm caused by all the other bad shit, but there's still always, I feel, something to be learned from people, even if I disagree with their business practices, because then I understand why were they able to get away with doing the thing that I don't like that they did. You know what I mean? And I don't want to understand that in order to replicate it, but I want to understand it in order to avoid it and in order to apply what is helpful about being able to capture attention and persuade others, in order to focus on what I find to be helpful. So I don't know. But yeah, I'm already a bit rambly, so I'm going to roll the intro, go ahead do that, and then we'll go ahead and get into Safety Boutique and catch up on that real quick. Hi, my name is Lexi, also known as and doing business as Deaf Child. In 2022, my company was listed as number 14 Best Louisiana Events Companies and Startups. I have been doing business as Deaf Child since 2013. I have my Bachelor of Science in Music Industry Studies and Business Administration, and deafness runs in my family genetically. Speech is not fully accessible to me. And I've got about 50 certifications in marketing and sales that you can find at noladeafchild.com. Okay, so I did check her site earlier today, and I really wish that I screenshot it then because I have no evidence of what I saw now. But before, it was still the exact same screen and everything that we left off on last night, and she still had a few of the add-ons and some of the accessories. She had like 3 or 4. I forgot which she had 3 or 4 of. I just remember the 3 and 4 numbers, and that she still had some add-ons and accessories left. So I checked it this morning, and then I checked it, which I woke up around noon today, and then I checked it again right before I was doing the live stream. And this morning, it was all still up to be sold. But by the time I was getting ready to do the live stream tonight, it was back to the pre-screen, I guess. So when the store is open, you're able to view all the products and click through. And then whenever she's doing what she calls her restocks. But then when it's out of stock or when it's not during that restock event, fucking I can't use my words or think right now. Then it looks like, then she goes back into this other screen where it's like a pre-screen, and it talks about when the next restock is coming and it has a restock countdown, and it's just got like her frequently asked questions. And so this is just catching up where we left off. So because I do believe that she still had products on her store to be sold, um, and that she uh, took it down to be available. I do believe where I had said that I had that marketing strategy theory in my last live where I thought that she was going to take all of that material and perhaps use it in a next restock for other keychains or just keep them as the individual add-ons and accessories. But I'm pretty sure her marketing strategy in order to maintain that demand is to close down the shop and relaunch it with her restock, even if she still technically has some of that product on hand. So I do think that we were right with that aspect of the artificial scarcity for her marketing strategy. Um, and yeah. And then I have two hair updates, I guess. The first one is I did manically read about 70 more sources. So now I have over 100. I have 151 sources on hair in here. Recently, I added a bunch on fine hair, hair loss, a bit more on hair type and hair wash, and low density. So before I had all of this material already on the wavy hair, the products, the medium. I added a lot. I had some medium porosity on here, but I have more medium porosity. The liquid cream oil versus liquid oil cream, and I had some hair type and fine hair in 2A already, but I just added a lot more. And I do have links for the bonnets that I have been wearing in there. Um, I don't know if that's respectful to discuss that. I will learn as I go, because, we're here. But the reason I'm discussing it is because of how crucial I believe they are to my thinning hair. So, not that that necessarily negates any harm I may cause, but I don't know. It's just where I'm at with processing. Um, and I really find like I'm not just clicking the box for good hair day in the hair journal for no reason. I genuinely am now loving my hair every day because I just basically feel like, and I was telling my friend, like, I think the difference is now, like, I used to, before I didn't understand what to fix about my hair when I didn't like it. I didn't understand what was wrong with it. Like, I knew I didn't like it, but I didn't understand how to make it better. And now, just understanding the way my hair responds to things, it's like every day I like the way it looks because I know what to do to fix it. So I washed my hair not too long before um, I started the live stream. I washed my hair and then I ate and started to stream not too long after. So I'm going to go ahead and put Night Detangler on here because I am going to be doing that shit tonight. Boop, boop. But the other neat thing I got with my hair stuff, I finally got a spray bottle. But this one isn't just like a regular spray bottle. It pulls up the water in an interesting way to where it mists. It's got like this. I don't know how to. It doesn't because there's like a difference. I feel like because spray bottles they can have different pressure levels. They can squirt in different ways. Don't take that out of context. Um, fucking. But you know, uh, so yeah, fucking this quick. But I got this shit. Like I'm gonna be honest, I did get this shit from fucking Walmart. It was just in the hair area. The hair product buy brushes and shit is where I found little spray bottles. Um, at the Chapatulas Walmart. So, oh no, wait, was that the Jefferson one? No, the Jefferson Walmart. I don't know where the fuck I'm at. All right, it all feels the same sometimes. Honestly, Does anyone know the difference? Because whenever they did the Wally World Bounce song, they got kicked out of one of the Walmarts and finished filming at the other, and no one knew the difference. So, um, but oh, and for the if the captioner got that wrong, I'm talking about the Wally World Bounce song. But yeah, okay. Fucking so moving on. Now we're gonna get into what are we here for? This Ingrid Arna shit. Cheers, bruh. So fucking um dude, I think I've said this on this live stream before, but you know I'm in New Orleans, so if you ask someone who's from Kenner where they're from, it's like a running joke that they'll say Kenner bra. And so I started saying Kenner bra a lot, making fun of Kenner bras, and now I can't stop saying bra. Like it's I don't know what happened. But that's where that came from. Here, fucking where we're at. So going over one of the common misconceptions, you know, that people have when it comes to uh, marketing and business, I feel like is to a point, yeah, there is imposter syndrome. And to a point, everybody needs to be told, you know, on some level, you got to believe in yourself because you can do this type thing, right? Like, I get that. That matters. Um, and on another level with spirituality, when it comes to actual spiritual practices and manifestation, I don't want to shit on that at all. So anything I talk about regarding manifestation, I am not trying to refer to any sacred spiritual practices. I am strictly referring to capitalizing off of the concept of manifestation. Um, fucking, so, you know, getting some of these things out of the way, first of all. But this idea, and this is where I think, you know, why she's successful and why she's harmful at the same time. Because what she does is use just like whole a concept that fucking if you just believe and work hard enough and manifest it, you're gonna build your wealth and you're not believing enough. You know what I mean? Type thing can be the energy of what she says and of her wording and her and a lot of the things, you know, I watched some of her videos at one point to understand. I wanted to really understand because she reminds me of women in my life. And so I was watching her video trying to understand, like, if I could see the logic in her. I don't know if that makes sense. Because, you know, I feel like with different people, you know, some people you get to listen to them. You may not agree with them, but you can see why they think the way they think. But then some people you start to listen to them and you're just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? And I find her a little bit of both of those. Fucking like in some levels I see how she got there, but I don't like it. And on other levels, I'm like, I don't see how you got there and I don't like it. Um, so you can see where it has like red. You know, sometimes I'll add things to a queue or to a playlist to save it for later, and I will not have even seen the video, and it will still show up as if I have watched it, and I did not watch it. I want to watch it later. But I did watch the videos that some of her videos, and they are up here with like a little red on my screen from me having seen some of these already. So that's why I feel I can speak to my impression already of her because I did try to understand where she was coming from. Um, but she's got this one video called Rich Woman or Poor Woman. There it is. Rich Woman, Poor Woman. I kind of want to watch that. Because she got this one reprogrammed into wealth. Oh, and here's another thing. She says right here, 500,000 Femme CEO. So my understanding being in the queer community myself is that the concept of femme is a queer term. It's not applicable to all women. And unless she is bi and pansexual and just so happens to be in a heteronormative relationship, I believe she is straight, or she presents herself to be straight. Well, that might be queerphobic of me, because how are we the fuck supposed to be? I don't know. I'm, us queer people, we can have internalized queer phobia, but I don't know if but regardless of if she herself is queer, her messaging seems to be directed to all women, and she seems to be associating all women with them. And I think there's a big difference talking about feminism or femininity. And that's like the word. Every time I say femininity, I really feel like Finding Nemo trying to say anemone. Um, but fucking yeah. So this bitch fucking. I thought we'd do a reaction. I just wanted to give like an overview. And the reason I feel the urge to do a reaction to this video is because I feel with the concept of trying to basically convince women to manifest their destiny and trying to differentiate what makes the difference between a rich and a poor woman, all ties into classism, and all ties into using fear and scarcity of resources and of not being good enough in business, which is some of women's most vulnerable um, feelings in working, in order to profit off of that. You know what I'm saying? And so I hate that strategy. It works because people are more likely to run away from something bad than they are to something good. Um, but it's harmful because you are weaponizing um, oppression in order to profit. And I kind of find that exploitation. So, yeah. We're gonna do a little react, and I don't know. I feel like this all fits within, fair use regarding copyright infringement for educational purposes, for commentary, for reaction, for news reporting purposes. Um, so yeah, that's how I feel about disclaimer. And yeah, let's get started with the damn thing. All right, you know what? Let me make sure. Okay, got my captions on. Let's make sure we got the volume up. Oh, sorry. I noticed in my last video, there was like a big discrepancy between how loud I am and how loud my audio is. So there might be that discrepancy again. So it's kind of like I'm always entertained because I really feel like I want to do like a little buffer for my little music where I'm like, hold your ears, and it's like what, and then like an explosion, because that's how I feel whenever I do the warning and then the loud music comes on at the end of the live streams. But okay, fucking all right, let's get into this shit. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the whole thing. Maybe I will. I probably will. But let's just see what happens.
Hi gorgeous, my name is Ingrid Arna and welcome to the Divine Femme Money Show. Sit back and relax because you're in for the juiciest conversation for women about money, power, sensuality, relationships and business. So the question
I think that is very interesting when money, power, sensuality, and business. Because I just feel like these are very personal discussions. And to me, this type of yeah, on one level, business is building relationships, and with building relationships, that can come to getting to know all aspects of a person. But on another level, it's like business and your personal life are separate. And I don't mean that to say, like, I hate when people often will say that to excuse doing shitty things with their business. And that's not what I agree with. But what I'm saying is with there needs to be boundaries, because if there's no boundaries, people only see me as a business, they don't see me as a person. You know what I'm saying? Um, and then they see me more of an entity and they don't humanize me. So you have to maintain that boundary.
I have to ask you today, gorgeous, is what do rich women and poor women do differently? Why is it that one woman thrives and one woman struggles?
I hate this question. What do women do differently? Because this sounds like victim blaming to me. It sounds like you're shifting the blame of income disparity onto women, first of all, that kind of is misogynistic in my opinion. And second of all, it ignores all the history of colonialism, all the history of oppression, things I can't even fully speak on. I just feel like it's very ignorant. It's like, what the fuck? What the fuck? How is this a question? Are you saying you don't know history? Do you not understand how the world works? Do you not understand capitalism? Is what I think when I see this video. Because how are you going to try and make women feel like if they're not making money, it's because they're doing something different than people who already have money? In terms of it's something they need to do. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's victim blaming. No. Most wealth that generational wealth is inherited, and not many people ever actually built their wealth. You know what I'm fucking saying? I don't. It's all exploitation. Like, I just have a lot of feelings about it.
And I know for sure that it comes down to energy and strategy, intent and behavior. Nothing is as powerful as a woman who owns her worth and knows how to get paid by being herself and sharing her gifts with power and integrity. Absolutely nothing. Because when a woman rises into her personal sovereignty, she changes the world every single time.
So here's when she's talking about women rising into our personal sovereignty, while saying she doesn't, asking people what makes a difference between a rich and a poor woman, as if oppression isn't tied to that. I feel like it's just kind of like, you know what the fuck I mean? Like it, and then you're not even focusing on collective liberation. You're focusing on individualism with this whole personal sovereignty shit. What about land back? You know what the fuck I mean? Like, I don't know. Well, not that you should be capitalizing off of land back, but I mean, it's just kind of like theoretically, for putting resources somewhere, wouldn't you put resources to land back over personal sovereignty if you cared about oppression? You know what I'm saying? Um, I don't know, like platforming people, and what are you doing with your resources? You know what I mean? Like, I would platform people if I had the funds. Right now, I just feel like I'd be asking people for free labor.
It's how we're wired. So what I'm going to say today may ruffle a few feathers, but it's intentional, gorgeous. I really want you to have the awareness and the wake up that you need in order to ensure.
So, notice she says she's intentionally ruffling feathers. So she's being intentional with the wording that she uses. So that's why it's kind of like, oh well, it's kind of hard for me to be like, oh well, she could have meant this, she could have meant that. She's saying she's intentional with the word that she's using. It kind of feels like if you're not thinking about how those words come off with dismissing history, it's like, do you not give a fuck then? That's what you intended? You know what I'm saying? And then just to kind of dismiss it with, oh, I'm ruffling some feathers. It kind of is just, it reminds me of when girls will be bitches and bullies and then say they don't like me because I tell the truth. You know what I mean? Oh shit, I'm about to put product in my hand when I want to hit play. Fuck. Well, I just squirted some, I just sprayed some squirt. I just sprayed some fucking water up in just my hair and shit. Now I'm adding some detangler. Alright, my best friend for my hair is leave-in detangler and leave-in conditioner. Fucking. Okay, let's go.
that you rise into riches, okay? We've got to stop lying about ourselves. We've got to stop being confused and overwhelmed. We've got to stop discounting ourselves. And we've got to get into the energetic alignment that you need to release poverty codes and rise into riches and wealth and service from a place of overflow.
So, some of what she's saying, some of the wording that she's using are words that have been taken from spiritual practices and spiritual ideas as well. That I think she's kind of flipping into this like whole capitalism thing. Like I think she's taking possibly different wordings from different ideas of some interpretations of spirituality. And I think she is basically trying to then kind of like exploit that in a way. And I find it interesting because when you look into her, she's got history in the United States and Australia. Um, I did not pull up this material, but years ago, I feel like if I go find this material, I will link it in the comments. So now let's just consider this gossip. You know what I'm saying? So, we'll process later whether or not I should be um, gossiping in this way. But if I remember correctly, I remember seeing some article about people questioning if she was faking her Australian accent. And I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know where she's from. It's not, you know. But what I'm saying is it wouldn't surprise me if that was true because I don't like the way that she is spinning ideas that are supposed to be spiritually empowering in order to basically oppress vulnerable women into thinking that they're not making money because they don't believe they're good enough. You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense to me. Like, no. You don't have to believe in yourself to be profitable, to be honest. Sorry, I'm fucking manic, but let's fucking do this thing.
So let's get this show started. You can find the Divine Femme Money Show at your favorite podcast provider and at ingridarna.com.
Holy fuck, we're not even watching this thing yet? This is just the intro? God damn.
/show. Hey gorgeous women, welcome to Rich Woman or Poor Woman. Can't talk today. This top is really playing up. Hey everyone, welcome. Let me just sort of organize myself a little bit here. I just look like I'm all swallowed up in pink velvet. Okay, let's get started. I'd love to know where you are coming in from, what you're going to be releasing today. If there's one kind of area in your life where you feel maybe a little bit stuck during this journey together over the next sort of 30 to 40 minutes, I'll see how we go. I really want you to begin to tap into any resistance, and we'll be talking about the potency of learning how to deeply receive. And I think a lot of women, I know that
Do you see where I feel like she is weaponizing ideas that could be spiritual in terms of talking about releasing energy and things like that, and giving that impression, and then telling women that they aren't making sales because they basically need to receive more. Kind of just, it reminds me of the, oh, well, be humble and learn whenever you speak up about workplace corruption. You know what I mean? Type response. That's what I'm feeling.
I was really crap at that. I still have to work at it actually because I'm such a giver, and it's beautiful to be giving and generous.
I'm sorry. Anytime someone tells me I am such a giver, I don't fucking believe you. I believe you're a giver, but it's a give and take, am I right? I believe, you know what I'm saying? Anytime someone thinks they're a giver, it's usually someone that films what they give, or, they're referring to anything that they have done in order to make themselves feel better. But it's not, they don't naturally check in to see if they actually helped. You know what I mean? I don't know. Self projecting totally here, but that's how I feel. My commentary channel.
And you also want to be able to receive an equal measure. It's not a form of like calculating it all, but it's this beautiful, divine, infinite flow of abundance. And you
Divine infinite flow of abundance. Divine infinite flow of abundance are the words that she is using here. And so you can't tell me that's not some sort of pseudo spirituality capitalist bullshit. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry, you can't tell me it's not.
can't have an infinite flow of abundance if it's not give and receive. So you may have often heard of me talking about nourishment and pleasure in business and in life, and it is literally almost impossible when we have these sort of unforeseen forces, unforeseen enemies and energies that are trapped within the spirit and the body. So there's a lot that I wanted to cover today.
I just find it wild that you are advertising yourself as someone who helps people with business, but you're talking about enemies in the body. You know what I mean? And I know that there's like an expression or a concept of fighting or facing your inner demons or whatever. And I can kind of understand when people use or reference that type of ideology or imagery whenever they're talking about overcoming obstacles and their own things that they had to battle within themselves or something. But for this to be your strategy and your marketing message to convince women to spend a lot of money with you in order to fucking you know what I mean, theoretically grow their business when you're not, like, I get on one level when you do marketing, you don't share everything online because you need people to come buy some shit from you. One, first of all, but also you can't generalize, marketing for a business. It is specific to each business. Each business has its own needs. So I do understand on one level with the content we create with as marketers, we can't just explain to you how to generate income. But on another level, there are too many different ways, from whether it be case studies, whether it be reporting on other sources, whether it be discussing concepts and methodologies that anybody could look up. There's so many ways that she could actually provide help. You know what I mean, with teaching people how to run business. That for her to basically be telling women, yeah, you need to fight the enemies within yourself for divine abundant flow, and you're not doing something if you're a poor woman to be a rich woman. It just feels really off to me. But let's keep watching. Maybe I'm overreacting.
I've literally written all these different notes. So I think I could actually be here for about 3 hours at least. But I'm going to be really focused today. And I was doing a video just before sharing. And hey, everybody. Hello, hello. Hey, gorgeous women. Hey, everyone. Sharing really where I began. And I began when, my real massive transformation began when I hit pretty much rock bottom. I was living in New York City. I had a few rock bottoms, like we all do, our dark nights of the soul. But one of mine was when I was living in New York. I was working in digital marketing and advertising. I was a corporate ad executive at 28 for an advertising agency in New York. And I literally couldn't walk to the toilet. and you realize that something is wrong at that point, right? So I had to almost like crawl on my hands and my knees.
So watching this part, I have worked remotely for marketing agencies, one of them being from New York and stuff. So I definitely understand the pressure there can be with working in marketing and advertising, particularly in a corporate environment and all of the issues that can come with that. But for her to go from that environment to this it's just wild to me. Like, did you learn nothing? Are you just now repeating what was done to you to others?
I was living in a very small, like 500 square foot apartment in a very trendy area in New York. And I was single, I was alone, and I was a workaholic. I had a lot of unresolved trauma from my past that was really all consuming. I grew up with a very lovely father who was very toxic and abusive and put an enormous amount of pressure on me to be like a child prodigy. So with all that angst, and there was many different layers that I had that I'd been carrying at.
So the few things I'm noticing, I feel like she has an inflated sense of self-worth. Oh, god damn it, I just let go of my braid, and then my hair is so fine. If I let go of my braid in the wrong spot, it'll just start unraveling, and then I feel like I can't even grab it, and I just want to redo the whole thing if I fuck it up. So I'm gonna do that. But yeah, fucking. I feel like she has an inflated sense of self worth because she's talking about how she's a child prodigy, and then she's talking about how fucking she is such a giver. You know what I mean? I'm sorry, that is not a humble person. And I get that you should be confident about who you are and you should own who you are. And no one should be trying to take you down a peg. So that's not what I'm trying to do. But what I'm trying to say is, for me, somebody who is a giver, who actually is a prodigy, doesn't need to sit here and brag to others about them being a prodigy. It's something we all know because you're just that good. Like, if you have to tell me how good you are, I have a hard time believing you versus if you can tell me what you do that is good. You know what I mean? Like, just be good. Tell me what you did that was good. Don't tell me that you're good. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, tell me about yourself. Like, but then that whole Chanel book too, I believe that Chanel may have some association with the German Nazi Party, if I know correctly of my history. So it's like, are you not paying attention to the sources behind you? Hitting button.
At that point for decades, my body began to shut down. And that was the first time.
You know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna watch this shit on like. I'm gonna try it. I'm gonna try it at like 2 times speed. If that's too fast, I'm gonna slow it down. But I think speeding this bitch up will make my whole live stream go by faster. That's what I'm gonna do.
I was diagnosed with chronic adrenal fatigue. And through my journey, a lot of you may not know, but I have studied mind body medicine, healing, nutrition, shamanism. And I first started to study that work.
So she's talking about having studied shamanism, and now this is what she's trying to apply into this work and profit. That is extremely problematic. To me, I don't want to get into lookerships and colonialism regarding spiritual practices and your cultural connection based on how you look. But from my knowledge, I do not believe she has any form of cultural connection to be talking about herself as having studied the, like, I just find this very problematic. And it also, it kind of makes me think I'm right about all the shit I've said before.
because I really needed it myself. I studied eating psychology, and I had to learn how to calm my central nervous system. I didn't really even understand what that meant in order to really heal. So it's taken me many, many years of research, trial and error, kind of getting it a part of the way, and then going deeper and deeper and deeper. And I just want to say to anybody today who's going through their transformation, I think as a human being, having this human experience, we are constantly up-leveling and upgrading, but I do believe we can reach a new homeostasis of being where the ascensions may be still incredibly rapid, but they're not painful, they're not debilitating. So just make sure that you really ask the divine creator to support you. And one of the key things that I did that has really helped me is that I always ask for deep intuitive divine guidance. So during my journey through my chronic health issues, through losing a company in New York, some of you might know I had a clothing line called Body Love. I came home and had to start from scratch. You've probably heard the story, and I don't want to repeat myself too much on that today. But I have had to really learn how to become my own mother, lover, father, supporter, champion. My husband supported me a lot in the business. He always sort of believed in me, but it was really my drive and my vision. And when you begin to have a vision that is so clear, it's literally all-consuming, and you become the embodiment of that vibrational reality.
So my company is Deaf Child. I am Deaf Child. I am deaf. I'm hard of hearing. Um, in some ways, I do feel like I am the main part of my business because without me, there is no Deaf Child business. But fucking from my affiliate team to my very best friend Shaw, I would not have a company without others. You know what I mean? It is a group team effort that I exist as I am. And so I never like it when businesses, even if there's a difference between talking about your origins and talking about the struggle of being a solopreneur, entrepreneur, I think, or talking about being a business owner and the loneliness of that, or or the what it's like to be the main person responsible for wearing all hats in a business. No, things like that, I can totally understand talking about how you're doing this all yourself in a way. That I get, and I don't want to shit on that aspect. But what I'm shitting on is basically her kind of being like, yeah, my husband was there, but it's all fucking me. Like that, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like you are downplaying how, the labor other people are doing. And then it's like, and that when you know that this person has many employees too, it's just like, what about your team, bitch? Like, it's like, this is why I say she's not humble. It's like, yeah, on some level, I'm why there's Deaf Child because obviously, like, it's my nickname, and I am me, and I started my business 13 years ago now, over 13 years ago, and so on some level, like, I get that, you know, when it's your creation and your baby and you're the one overseeing everything, you do have this entitlement to your labor. I get that. But like at the same time, for me to act like I've done this all myself would be to reject or deny all of the other people's labor that has gone into putting me where I am. You know?
Okay. So you don't, one very important part about becoming a rich woman is you've got to make a choice. And I made that choice about 5 years ago, right? I made a choice that I was going to learn how to release myself from the vexins, the spirits, the drama, the chains, my own victimhood.
She's over here like, I made a choice and I released myself from my trauma. But she's talking about family issues, and I'm not trying to dismiss, she could have actually been gone through some traumatic shit, and that is how she dealt with it. I'm not trying to dismiss that. I'm not saying she hasn't experienced trauma. I'm saying the way she talks about it, even if this is her coping mechanism, is extremely problematic because it comes off as if she is making people or leading people to believe that if they're in a traumatized state or if they're struggling, it's because they're making the wrong choices. And in some people's case, yeah, that may happen to be true for them. And so maybe this is that message they need to hear. For example, addiction is a struggle in my family. So when it comes to addiction patterns, on some level, the idea of you can make the choice to change is somewhat helpful, but on another level, it dismisses the idea that addiction is a disease. If I could choose to change, I would have, bitch. You know what I mean? And so, like, I don't know. the whole like you're just not choosing to be a rich woman idea. It's like, is this what you are charging women for? Like, please tell me you actually offer them some form of real marketing advice or business advice if they actually pay you. Like, is this what they get from you?
And I really began to work with quantum realm healing, energy, frequency, as well as becoming incredibly deliberate about where I was spending my time, what I was actually doing to move my business forward. Okay. So often with the women that come to work with us, they have quick, not everybody, because everybody has a different journey, but there are a lot of women who make money really quickly. And it's not because it's a get rich quick scheme or anything like that. It's because they've embodied a new frequency and they're doing very specific, deliberate things. So everything that I did to radically grow my business is in my programs. And it's all about, I'm very specific about what I teach. But if I tune into a woman's frequency and energy, I can tell if it's scattered. It's almost like if someone came with a sword and began to sort of like not hurt the body, but really slash up the energy field. And that comes from a lot of like fight flight behavior, where we have not fully resolved the wounding that we've really experienced in our life. So that's the first point. And the second point that I really want to make is when you make a choice, it has to be this fully embodied choice. You can't have one foot out and one foot in, because when you stand like that, for example, you're very unstable. So if we look at everything from a quantum manifesting realm, the energy is like a crystal grid. Everything is so clear. There's this clear command, there's a clear vision, there's a clear intention. And then from that, there's a clear set of behaviors that match that vision and match that frequency. So I want you to tap into yourself for a moment. You might want to close your eyes, put one hand in your heart, one hand in your womb space, and ask yourself, what is the vibration of a rich woman that I need to bring forward? How does that feel for me? Really just feel into it. And you can ask for divine rapid healing right now. And say, yes, 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 thank you, and so it is. I would literally walk around every single day saying, I'm a rich woman, I'm a rich woman, I'm a rich woman, to begin to shift my frequency. When I used to see someone that was complaining or in scarcity or I felt a weird energy around me, I would send love and light and release and move myself away from that frequency, because I knew, if I had a fear-based consciousness and I allowed in lower-based frequencies to corrupt my vibration, really that was on me. So
A lot of what I don't like about what she's now getting into with like this whole higher and lower frequency vibration thing, I feel from my perspective could tie into some ideology I associate with white supremacy, not only with white people corrupting spiritual practices, but also with the concept of white people kind of like with the whole concept of disturbing the peace. You know what I'm saying? Where we would rather the peace be upheld than to be confronted with or dismantle oppression. But it's not real peace. It's us basing our um it's us basing our feeling of peace off of the making off of the pain of others. I can't use the right words, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. But like all of what she's saying to me feels like I feel like in some ways I kind of feel like my introduction to this video where I was talking about how I feel like she's in this pseudo capitalist spiritual bullshit thing. I feel like all of that was kind of like me giving you an abstract, and if this were a video essay, right, like that would be my um no, the introduction would have been my abstract. That would have been my fucking like introductory paragraph, and now we are in like the supporting paragraphs with my evidence using her words. Just how I feel, you know what the fuck I mean? And we'll see what happens when we get to the conclusion. Um, yeah, fucking.
part of learning to live from a place of richness is releasing anything that doesn't serve you. If you see other people who are really struggling or they're
So this whole release whatever doesn't serve you thing too. On one level, I get needing to let go of things that aren't good for you because, like, you can't do anything for human rights if you're in a place of you're not taking care of yourself. So for me, I struggle with self-harm. And if I'm struggling with self-harm, I do need to get away from the things that are triggering me because I can't be of use to anybody if I am hurting myself in that way. And if that makes sense. So on that level, I kind of get the whole you do have to, on a certain level, release what's not good for you in order to focus on what is good for you. But on another level, I feel like people use this concept of I'm not paying attention to anything that stresses me out in order to avoid taking accountability for our roles in colonialism, corruption, and oppression.
very committed to their own scarcity, you can love and bless them and then move away from that energy field. But you don't need to fix that for them. Really, at the end of the day, if you remain in a constant vibration of richness, of expansion, you actually, just from being in that vibration, begin to shift other people's energy fields, because you're a representation of something incredibly light, uplifting, it's juicy. And I really gave up waiting for any sense of approval, any sense of validation, to be able to really embody this for myself. Okay, so I've written a whole lot of rich women, poor women statements, and you can all get that document. Megan, one of my divine divas, is here. She can give it to you. I think it also is in the summary of today's video above, and you'll get that in our Facebook bot. Yeah, that's beautiful. Thank you.
So she tends to call her fans, her audience, either gorgeous or divine divas a lot. I think that is interesting in terms of the way, like, so on some level, I think she's doing it to try and create her way of building a customer personal relationship in a way that she thinks is empowering, or I don't know. But on another level, the concept of diva and sassiness hasn't always been a compliment to all people. And I do think, there's a big difference when you're a white woman trying to talk about being a bitch and a boss babe and a diva versus what it's like for anyone who isn't. I don't know. Because there are tropes, you know what I'm saying? For example, the word sassy has certain connotations. And I just kind of feel like it's not empowering to me. But I don't know. Rambly. But, and again, I'm gonna just keep watching the damn video. Oh, you know what? I need to go do something, and then I'm gonna come right back. But what I think I'm gonna do is just let the video play, and then after that, I'm gonna try to, comment a little extra on the material.
Thank you for that, Chris. He's helping me with the tech there, to download so you can read it for yourself and begin to really think about it. And when I was writing these statements, it made me laugh a little bit, because sometimes, we have work to do. It's very important when you want to embody riches, you need to become responsible and aware. If you're not aware of where you might be letting yourself down or stumbling or creating a lot more struggle in your life, then you really need to. And I sort of have a big smile on my face, because who doesn't sometimes do that, right? Where we buy into drama, or we're trying to push it uphill instead of like stopping and looking at, well, what are the behaviors and what are the beliefs that got me to this level? Another very important thing that I've done, I made a conscious decision to do and be, was I decided 5 or 6 years ago, when I really began to scale my business, I decided that I made a vow and a pact that I would learn and master whatever I had to do to learn and master, that I was going to do it. I made a pact with the divine, and I asked for radical divine immediate healing. And all the things that I cannot see, all the subconscious blocks that I cannot see, and we all have a lot of them, some of us more than others, may they be like literally like healed, released, so I could restore and go back to a really deep sense of remembrance, right? Deep remembrance. So with that clear intent, I just have to warn you, I think I've maybe said this before, you might have heard me say it before, be very mindful, because you will begin to have a radical upgrade. When you're having a radical upgrade, you really want to make sure that you're getting enough sleep, that you're putting your feet into the earth, that you're grounding your energy, that you're drinking a lot of water, maybe drinking things like chamomile tea, peppermint tea, to really release and help you with a really nourishing, beautiful, sort of ritualized invocation to allow the journey of release and restoration and resurrection and remembrance to be as gentle and as loving as possible. Is everyone hearing me today? Hello, everybody. Okay. So I said here in this document that you might get a little bit triggered, and that's okay. If you do feel a little bit uncomfortable or triggered with anything that I'm sharing, have no fear. It's just going to show you where you may need to do a little bit more work, where there's a transformation that needs to take place, and it's all good. So once we have the awareness, we can move through it. If we don't have the awareness and we're completely blind, that's what we have to be more worried about. So we want it to come up so we can look at it, witness it, learn from it, and then release it. Okay, so I wrote this. Rich women choose to get paid on results. Poor women choose to get paid based on time. So if you're doing potent divine healing work and you are able to do that, over say 6 weeks, really, and say that was 6 hours of sessions, I'm always saying this to my clients and my students. It's like, think about the results. It's not really, so if you say you were charging even like $10,000 or something like that, and you would have to be a certain frequency and a certain level of mastery to have that all work really well for you. But I'm just like putting it out there like a big number. It's not really, 6 sessions divided by, say it was $12,000, it would be $2,000, worth $2,000 a session, for example. Now that can make people feel a little bit uncomfortable. Some people can charge that, some people can get away with it. I know a lot of consultants do. But really at the end of the day, it's about the result, about the transformation. So if someone heals radical trauma, then they're not paying you still at that level for the time, they're paying you for the result that they're getting. So you absolutely want to ground this in. When clients and students come to work with us, it's either, sometimes they start selling $25,000 packages, etc., right from the beginning. Sometimes it's a $3,000 package, even a $2,000 package, and they begin to then raise their frequency, they begin to become more confident, and as they go along, they can raise their price at any time because you're the CEO of Diva, and you can choose to do it at any time once it feels in alignment and in congruence to you and where you're at. Okay, but you want to get paid based on results, and you really want to embody that. Is everyone understanding where I'm coming from with this? Okay, and rich women turn pain into...
Yeah, I know I said I was doing shit real quick, but I had to stop this. Did she really just said the difference between rich and poor women is that rich women are choosing to get paid? What the fuck? Holy fuck. Yeah, I had to pause for that. But hold on, I'm gonna be right back. Okay, we're processing.
To power, and even pain into prosperity, pain into purpose. That's what I definitely did. What helped me really get out of my own way was to take the focus off myself and really focus on service. So when I really couldn't get out of my own way and I had a lot of anxiety and fear about showing up, speaking up, I had fear about it not working, so many different fears, fears of what people might think of me. I've gone through it all, right? I just focused on how I could help another person. It is one of the most powerful, energetic shifts that I've ever made, and it just always works. Every single day, you can ask yourself, what do I need to share today in order to be of service? So poor women typically turn their power into perpetual suffering, so they don't get out of the loop. I went there for a long time on many different levels in my journey as well, so I don't judge people with that. I have a lot of empathy and compassion. Sometimes I'm very fierce because I understand the suffering so deeply that my calling and my purpose is to mobilize women to go into a state of divine love, divine respect, divine compensation. Okay, so it's really like I'm so fiercely attuned to that. And when I'm speaking to my students or when I'm speaking to someone who's looking at working with me, that's where my vibration is always at. I see each individual with the highest level of love and respect for their next level, for their incarnation, for their remembrance. I can also feel almost nauseous sometimes when I feel the energy very connected to self-sabotage. And how does that make me feel? It's I think we're just going to decide each individual has to make a decision to break free from that kind of saga. And one of the biggest ways and the best ways really to get out of self-sabotage is to give yourself one specific action that will be self-loving, that will be of service, that will take your business forward, one specific action, and stick to it and do it. Because when you do it, you begin to basically replace a toxic behavior with a really powerful, loving behavior. And
So how the fuck is she going from basically saying, oh, the difference between rich women and poor women is rich women know how to get of our own way, and now she's talking about how attuned she is to everything, yet she can't discuss any form of marketing or business concept. The thing is, there's so many different types of marketing strategies, methodologies, ideologies she will be talking about that could be actually helping people build a fucking business. This is pissing me off. For her to then be exploiting spirituality to profit off of the issues that women are most vulnerable about. What? I cannot with this bitch. Okay, we're gonna keep going. Hold on.
you begin to shift your energy fields, you begin to shift the neural pathways, and it begins to become a process that will no longer be difficult or challenging because you've done it. You know, when I used to be so scared of speaking, the very first time that I really began to own my voice was when I had to speak to my father, who had been kind of yelling and carrying on like a crazy person with my grandmother. And he was sort of like really aggressive and animated and full on though, like really full on. And she had started to lose her hearing. And I literally made myself sit down. This is a beautiful exercise that you could do over the next 24 hours and start to begin to...
Oh, and I've noticed that she used blind as if it was a bad thing, and now she's saying crazy. She's got some ableism to work out too, and I get that we all have internalized ableism to work out. I especially do with my own mental health, and I really do talk about feeling crazy a lot, not because I want to be ableist, but because I don't know what other fucking word to use to describe how I feel. But fucking yeah, dude. Like, there's this every other word out her damn mouth seems to piss me off for some fucking reason.
write down what it is you want to say. So a rich woman also expresses herself and expresses her truth. She's not hiding. You know, she has owned her voice. She's not, you know, a poor woman will stifle herself and think she doesn't know enough. I remember my father one time saying to me, I was doing a big talk, I was hired to go and speak at this.
Oh my god, this whole thing where she's like, oh, if you're poor, it's because you're stifling yourself. There's a difference between infantilizing or pitying someone or something like that, or trying to bring someone down with like the whole concept of, oh, poor you, versus talking about wealth versus poverty. You know what the fuck I'm saying? And you can't tell me no bullshit about, oh, well, this isn't about real wealth. This is about your emotional wealth. Whenever she's tying this all to her business and marketing and capitalism, like, suck my dick.
This event, and I had a lot of nerves beginning to come up, and it was before my father died, obviously, he was still alive. And he was sitting there all frail, and I just made him chicken soup, and my event was the next day, and we're sort of getting along, and I'm trying to get everything ready and feed my daughter and feed him, and I'm thinking about the event and starting to really set a very clear intent to how I wanted that to unfold. And he says to me, Ingy, which is my nickname, Ingy, don't act like you know too much. And I remember, I sort of paused, and I just thought, God, I've heard this my whole life. Don't act too smart.
Don't act like you know too much. Is that why you're not acting like you know too much about marketing now? Did that stick with you? I just want to know. I want to know. Have you ever seen the rain?
Don't speak up too much. So my father was lovely, but he also was very kind of condescending to women, but he had a lot of fear within himself around speaking up, and he was very strong and very animated, and very kind of full-on person, seemingly quite confident, yet quite insecure at the same time. So part of what he was doing in actual fact was trying to protect me. Like, if I don't stand out too much, I won't be attacked, I won't be ridiculed, I won't be judged. And I remember looking at him, one part of me wanted to tip the soup over his head, and another part of me was like, okay, be loving, be kind. It really did trigger me, and I thought, I said, Dad, I've got this, we don't need to talk about it anymore, you don't need to worry about me, I've really got this, and I know exactly what I'm doing, I know exactly what I need to say, okay? So going back to the first time I really spoke up to my dad, so I was like, my dad always used to say to me, I don't love you, I respect you. So he had this big thing, and I know that my dad loved me, but he had this big thing he used to say to us as kids, I don't love you, I respect you. So there he was abusing my grandmother, and I remember writing down, I was quite upset, and I didn't like it, and I wanted to tell him that it was not appropriate. So I wrote this little letter for him, and I wrote it all down, and I really processed my thoughts of how I wanted to communicate it in a way that was clear and powerful, and also respectful, and not really attacking. And I asked him to sit down. We had two couches that were facing each other, and I asked him to please sit there and to listen to me, and that could he give me the time and the respect to let me read what I had to read. Makes me emotional. And I had to wait, and then for him to wait and to not interrupt me, because I grew up with a lot of violence. And that he could then say whatever he wanted to say after I had spoken. So he agreed to that, and he did it. And I just said, even though she can't really hear, it's all energy, and she can see you going on, and it's almost like you're hovering over her and using your body, and you're in her space. And you've always taught me to be respectful, but you're not respectful. Nothing about your behavior is respectful. So if your highest value is respect, then you're not demonstrating respect. And he started crying.
Okay, so when I look at her face, I feel like she definitely does have trauma. So, I'm not trying to, whenever I talk about not liking her politics, the way I perceive her politics coming through her words, and not liking her actions, and not liking the way she is building her business, that's fine. But, when I'm talking about how I believe she is using oppressive ideology, and I do believe that is all true, but I also believe it's true that this bitch is dealing with some fucking trauma. But what I also think is true is she is not healed. She thinks she's healed. This is what she's telling herself to get through to. But when you see this story, it kind of puts you, it explains why and how she got so harmful. Like, it really does to me. Like, it's kind of like a light bulb. I don't know.
And we had a beautiful chat in the end, and we apologized, and that was that. And that was the first time I really learned as well, and I've had to work incredibly hard to not be a person that would rage. Sometimes I have done that in my journey, to rage against, energies and people that are toxic, and to learn how to speak in a way that will clearly articulate what needs to be said, protecting myself, having the confidence to do it, and to do it in a way that gets the point across. Is everyone hearing what I'm saying? This will teach you so much. Just the exercise alone, even if the person is past, or you don't want to confront somebody.
So, I don't think that she actually knows about real income disparity, and I don't have any real information to back that up, other than not liking the way she talks about wealth and income, which is why I don't think she understands what it's like to be broke. But I feel like everything I've said before this, when I was critiquing what she said as she went, kind of explains that and justifies that statement to me. Fucking. But two things can be true, you know what I mean? Just because you aren't don't understand what it's like to actually need to build wealth, doesn't mean you can't have been dealing with this abuse. But I don't think she understands that a lot of what she's doing now is perpetuating a cycle of abuse. She didn't end it. She's still in it. You know?
But you just write it down, and you don't censor yourself, and you allow yourself to express it and get your emotion out, and then read it. and allow yourself to then maybe burn it up or whatnot. But just learning the practice of expression and holding your truth is really very, very, very important in all areas of a woman's life, whether it is professionally, with your career, with business, online, social media space. If you're not visible, if you don't know how to communicate with your audience, you're pretty much screwed and not in a good way. If you want to hit your payday.
Okay, this is probably the first, we are 25 minutes and 47 seconds in, and we have the first statement I actually agree with, folks. Well, alright, let's keep. Oh, and what I was agreeing with was basically her saying is, I don't remember word for word what she said, but she was basically saying, if you can't connect with your audience, then you're not going to make sales. And that is true.
You better know how to own your voice. Okay. Rich women act in spite of fear and use it as fuel. I've been fucking petrified half the time growing my business.
So this statement to me is why I know you're coming from a place of privilege, in my opinion, because here's the thing. Fear is meant to protect you from dying. You know what I'm saying? If you're scared, it's because there is a risk. Now, there is no growth without risk. So, we do have to learn to work with fear. But the focus here should be about risk mitigation and risk reduction, and helping people understand what to identify to reduce risk with running ads. And in my last video, I ended it with what I would do to reduce risk. And my biggest thing, I also said, I don't think I put this in the same place, but I don't remember where in the video I said this, but I was also talking about how if you're not already making money running with your business, doing your free marketing, running ads will not bring you sales. And here is why. Your organic marketing strategy should be able to generate you at least a sale. And if it's not, if you have reached 100 people and you've not generated a sale, something is wrong with your marketing or with your offer. And if you put money into a bad marketing or bad offer and you scale that, it's not going to bring you more people. If that makes, I mean, it could bring you more people, but it's not going to bring you more sales. You know what I'm saying? All right. So the first step is most people are running ads, spending money on advertising, but they don't even know if they have a viable strategy or offer yet. And then the next step is once you're making sales and you're like, okay, now we're scaling, we're going to start running ads, how much money do I set on that? People won't think about how much money are they going to make in a year. They're going to be like, I happen to have $5,000 on me right now. Let me just spend them $5,000 on this one campaign. And it'll be a one top of funnel campaign, one PR placement, and then they'll be shocked that they don't get any sales, right? But PR, the goal isn't sales. The goal is awareness, and it can lead to marketing and tie in with lead acquisition, but it's typically more on the awareness side, which can eventually lead to a sale, but that's not where the point of sale is, you know? And so that's what people get confused, is because they don't understand conversion rates, the views they need to get a sale, or the amount of work it takes to make these actions happen. And instead of explaining any of that to people so they can understand how to mitigate risk with their resources, she's over here basically being like, well, you need to act in spite of being afraid. And what I don't like about that pressure is that is what tries to force people to buy things they don't need. You know? Like, I tell way more people they don't need to buy shit from me than I actually want to accept bookings.
Fucking stop me, because I'm so connected to my why. I'm so connected to the service that I want to bring. I'm so like full on fears about the emancipation of women's rights. I'm over women feeling that they're not enough. It's just ridiculous to me.
I'm sorry, but you can't lead with this whole thing about exploiting shamanism, even though that's not exactly what you said. That's what I'm interpreting you saying and doing. But she did talk about shamanism. So you can't fucking be exploiting shamanism for your capitalist business shit and then talking about liberating all women. Like, I'm sorry.
It's ridiculous. I get it, but it's enough. Enough is enough. So that level of fierceness and passion and having a solid why, like I always say, the money is behind your why, grounds me into acting despite my fear. I don't know any human being on the planet, whether you're a gazillionaire, billionaire, who hasn't had fear, honestly. So we need to learn how to put it in the back seat. We need to learn how to allow it to fuel us, to mobilize us forward, to not stop us in such flights, sort of flights that we almost like trip ourselves up continuously. So poor women allow fear to paralyze them, right? Rich women constantly learn and grow. Poor women think they already know it all. Or they don't study, they don't learn, they don't think, okay, well, I don't know how to do this.
So by her definition, is she poor then if she thinks she's a prodigy and she thinks... And that's so funny because this is basically what I had said earlier with that whole, it sounds like you just need to be humble and learn. Here we go. It's right here. Actually, it's right there. Point that out. Yeah, the camera. Because it's this screen right here, but if I look at the camera and then when I'm on live, I guess I should point that way. Alright, flip-flop in here. That makes more sense. Okay. But anyhow, you know what the fuck I'm saying?
Yet. Let me find someone, a mentor, let me read a book, let me speak to someone that can really help me move the dial in my life, in my business, right? Rich women choose to believe in themselves. Poor women are constantly waiting for permission and approval. Rich women speak up about what matters. Poor women stay silent about what is important to them. That really expresses what I was talking about before. I can't even say it. Rich women slay problems are like warrior queens. Poor women allow problems to become the prison that they live in. So it is a muscle, and my husband and I were talking about.
I haven't fully processed that I can't fully put words to all the reasons I don't like the things that she is saying, but I just feel the need to pause to say I hate this.
About this, and my husband said, you're very, I don't know if you're realizing, you're just so driven and so much about how do I change this? If I don't like something, how do I change it? What do we need to do? There's a problem in the business. What do we need to solve? Who do we need to hire? What do we need to change? Where are we at with our funnels, our positioning, our messaging, our service delivery? I am a problem-solving diva queen. And you need to be that as well, okay, in business and in life. It's like solution. I was having a rant the other day and someone came to me complaining about something. And I said, don't.
So, didn't you just say that if you're not willing to learn, you're poor? But now you're talking about how you're the problem-solving queen. How are you a problem-solving queen?
Don't come to me with problems. I've hired you to come to me with solutions. So before you speak to me, come if you have an issue with something or whatever, that it wasn't anything big, that was sort of like this little bit like little girl.
I thought you were the problem-solving queen though, so why can't people come to you with problems? I don't like that. I hate that idea when if an employee comes to me with a problem, it's because they need a solution, and when you tell them that, you're just shutting them down. I almost every time someone comes to me for help, they're usually telling me why they need help because they were doing something and it wasn't working for them. Not you, but you.
Like vibration, and I was like, why are we even talking about this? Like the energy of it is she needed me to fix something when in actual fact it was something to do with her, and I was like, go fix it, or come to me with 3 different ideas if you need.
Are you fucking kidding me? So she markets herself as a business coach, so if this is to her clients, that's extremely fucked up, and if this is to her employees, that's extremely fucked up. Honestly, I don't know if I'm doing good enough at being like a good like teacher with my affiliate program, and I don't think I'm doing good enough all the time because there are things that but like she's making me feel way better than myself because at least I'm not like that. Wow. I said I wasn't here to bring people down though. Look at me. Okay, I'm not trying to be like that, but you know how when like when you feel like you're fucking up at something and then you see someone else do it and you're like, damn, at least I'm not that bad. That is kind of how I feel, but I'm not trying to bring her down. I just really don't like her.
My feedback then, but let's not have a 20-minute conversation about something that should have been dealt with in literally 3 minutes. Can you go and deal with it on your own? And if you need help, go and speak to someone else on my team. Come to me as a last resort, but come to me with solutions.
That's not the helpful. Like, if the issue is you don't have time to deal with that, then it's your job to understand that if your employees need help with something and you're not able to provide them the time that they need for that help, it's your job to then either find someone within your staff that can provide the auxiliary support for them or to outsource that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the solution, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like where why are you victim blaming?
I'm like, I don't want to deal with this, right? And so for me, when I'm with my students, I am hired to be like a laser beam on change this, do that, tweak this, bring this in.
So you're hired to do the thing you're just saying you're refusing to do. Got it.
Okay, you've got this emotion and this belief, I can feel it in the frequency. We need to release that. That's what we're paid for as coaches, healers, leaders, consultants. We are paid to.
What the fuck are you gonna say? Don't come to me with problems. Come to me with solutions. But I'm a coach. I'm a healer. I'm a leader. This is why I say she has an inflated sense of self-worth.
Really be able to take people forward. Okay, if you can't do that for yourself, you're going to have a pretty hard time doing it for others in a really powerful way. Rich women are committed to their vision no matter what. Poor women give up easily when things get hard. I think about a week ago, I was talking about resilience when it comes to riches. Resilience, intelligence, courage. You fucking courage. The courage is so needed.
Rich women have more resources to do whatever the fuck they want. Poor women, we don't give up because things get hard. Poor women go through periods of time where we have more or less ambition or energy or mental work capacity to complete tasks than others because we can't afford to just spend our time doing whatever the fuck we want. Bitch, fuck you. Alright.
The courage comes from heart. The courage comes from that why and that passion and that very clear intent to serve and create change, whatever niche you're in. You will become like a wild woman warrior queen when you really tap into that. The other part of that was like real honoring and taking care of yourself. And then what else did we have? Then we had energy, and then we had service at the end and strategy. Okay. So how's everybody going today? How's everybody going? So really at the end of the day, for me, becoming a rich woman really.
And I should say, like, I've been shitting about her content, and I've been bitching about why she doesn't fucking talk about marketing strategy. I do believe, like, when you look at her website, unless her husband or her family is funding everything, when you go look, if you look through her YouTube, you look through all her videos, you look through her website, she lives in a big ass mansion. You look at her reported earnings. She's reported earning a multi-million-dollar company. If you go look her into Zoom info. Shit, let's do that right now real quick. Hold on. Alright, well, she's probably less than 5 million. Let's see. I don't know if this is accurate. That is what is reported. I wonder if it gives me anything on Crunchbase. Wait, what's her website, though? Okay, it's ingridarna.com. Fucking. At the end of this, I will pull up. You know what? I'll go ahead and pull it up. Okay. And let's keep watching.
Is an internal shift that needs to be really harnessed before we can have the external reality show up for us. And you don't need to become more in order to earn more. Okay. So for example, yes, you may learn and you craft and you skill, you get better with online marketing, messaging, videos.
You don't need to become more in order to learn more. What the fuck is she? I don't know what the fuck does that mean. If she's
sales, copywriting, the whole genre of what it takes to have a very successful online business. But the essence of who you are is divine woman. That's why I use the word diva. Diva in the Ingrid Arna world is not a homage to Mariah Carey, but it's about divinity, owning your own divinity. So when you begin to own your own divinity, and you don't see yourself as broken and you don't see yourself as a failure, you begin to have this level of honoring and respect whilst learning and growing and healing and ascending and releasing anything that is stagnant and heavy and toxic. You will begin to
now she's going into it's all about how you see yourself. I don't like that. Like she when you if you watch enough of her content, you'll dig through it and you'll get to eventually. She does put out a little bit of shit about marketing and positioning and branding, and she does talk about it a little bit, but what I don't like is I don't know if she gives more in detail if you pay for her, but what she shares is like marketing 101 stuff, like stuff you learn in college, where it's like basically just kind of understanding what these terms are. Um, like in terms of, understanding the difference between product placement, price and promotion, right? So things like that, like the cornerstones of marketing. So I get like a certain level, you know, but I just question based on why is she if she puts out if what she gives clients is also as connected to the rest of these things I find unethical. I don't know. Like, I don't get what people buy from her.
To reclaim your own divinity and your own sense of richness that always exists for every single human being on the planet.
But I will say some other shit. This is why white women have a bad reputation in marketing. It's creators like this. No, like white people, we gotta be accountable. We're all like this in some way. We've all been this way before. I used to be this way in a way, but I grew out of it after college. But no, because in college I went through the whole what I fucking I thought it was really funny to use hashtag higher being because I was stoned as shit. But like higher, like HIGE. I don't know. But not that I thought I was like a higher being, like a holier than thou person though. Um I just have some religious trauma and so I will make fun of it a little bit. But not to be disrespectful of anybody's religion though, but fucking yeah. Let's shit talk some more of this.
Whether you're a woman or a man or transgender or whatever.
Okay, well, you know what else I don't like about this is it really reminds me of when white people are about to say some racist shit, and then we'll be like, I don't care if you're blue, yellow, green, purple. If you're blue or purple, you should go to the doctor. But you know what I'm saying? Like they'll be saying some shit like, or if you're yellow, you got jaundice. Fucking, I don't know. Like that's what that reminds me of. Whenever people are like, I don't care if you're disabled, trans, and I'm like, what? You don't care about our identities? Like, what? You don't see me? I don't know.
Whatever it is, each individual has that. It's my beliefs. I have that belief completely. And once we begin to attune to that vibration, everything begins to become a lot richer. In terms of, I talk a lot about.
I'm just gonna spend a week telling my clients, like every time a client asks me something, I'm just gonna tell them they need to attune to your vibration and just see what happens. I'm gonna fucking tell that to my roommate and see what happens.
About money, monetization, but at the end of the day, my health has been so eroded.
Did she just admit it was all about money and monetization for her?
Over the years when I really hadn't done the healing work and when I definitely didn't have a feeling of divinity and connection to source field and to love and to unconditional love for myself. So take some time over the next few days to really begin.
I kind of feel like you telling me you come from abuse and then you telling me I am sourced with unconditional love are very, like maybe you're saying you think you have that for yourself now. And I think it is good to have unconditional love for yourself now, but I don't believe anybody that's been raised in abuse, like that's the whole premise of being abused is that you don't feel loved. I don't know. maybe I'm self-projecting here, but this like I do believe she's dealt with trauma because of her reactions, and I believe she's not dealing with it. I actually believe she's experienced trauma. I don't believe she's fully dealt with it. You know what I'm saying?
And to tap into your own divinity.
Honestly, I think this whole branding concept is a trauma response. It's still harmful, but I'm probably saying harmful shit too because, I'm still decolonizing. But I also feel like it doesn't excuse, any harm I cause, but I don't think I'm going to learn anything if I don't try using my words?
Give yourself and move into a whole new frequency. And one of the fastest ways to do that also is to focus on the future reality of that which you want to receive. So if you want to create, we might sometimes see, you might have heard me talk about creating a pattern interrupt. So a pattern interrupt in marketing is when you create, say, an ad or a video or do an email that literally has people wake up and take notice.
She's talking about disruptive marketing. Um, Another thing I don't like too is like a lot of the things she's talking about with marketing. It's all common concepts, but she will talk about it. She doesn't necessarily say that I'm the inventor of it, but she kind of words it in this way to lead people to believe that she is the one who created these concepts by. So we'll be talking about her spiritual awakening in a way, and then talking about like how she's coming to realizations, and then talking about these concepts as if she's the one who came to realize the existence of these concepts. I don't know. And I do think it's one thing to talk about your journey in applying concepts to your marketing. And she doesn't ever explicitly say, or hasn't explicitly said so far, um, that she's the inventor of these terms. But I think the way she frames herself to be a thought leader is both something to learn from and something to be skeptical of.
In 2 seconds flat. A pattern interrupt that you can also use for yourself, within yourself, to shift out of victimhood or past drama is to focus on asking yourself, well, what do I want now? What do I want now?
That's the most gaslighting shit ever. Why are you doing bad with business? Because you need to shift out of victimhood. This is why I say she's victim blaming. Right here. She used the word victim. I feel justified.
Now immediately, and what do I want in my future, and what does that feel like? Always focus on the feeling. The feeling will take you into the future realm. You have to embody that. You have to absolutely dive with that. So basically what I've done is I have trained myself to focus on the feeling. So the minute I wake up in the morning, I'm literally setting a very deliberate intent of exactly what I want to have happen in my day, in the week ahead, in the month ahead. I'm feeling into it. And then all the other beautiful things.
This whole thing where she's going on where it's kind of like, now things are happening because I willed it to be so and I'm manifesting it. It reminds me of Manifest Destiny, No Me Gusta.
That I'm wanting are an extension of that clear intent. So even doing this every morning and asking myself very quickly can literally take 30 seconds. What am I intending and what is the feeling of that? And if you want to go deeper, some of it is just being an embodiment. There's no needing to be doing. Sometimes you need to rest and restore. But then there will also be potentially specific action. So for me, I'll be like, call that person, do that, follow up with this. I saw someone recently that I felt that I really needed to reach out. I have it all the time. I have it with clients and students. I have it with a beautiful friend of mine who's coming back to join my team. And it's like tapping into people and going, okay, I really need to connect and I really feel that I need to do this. And then I spoke to a beautiful man a little while ago and my husband was like, I thought I really want to speak to this guy. He's like this 8-figure guy that is quite well known, and I reached out to someone on his team, and Chris was like, oh, do you really want to do that? Like, we're so, sort of like ahead of the game. And I said, well, I don't want him to do X, Y, Z in my business because we already do that really well, but I just feel this.
Why do I feel like I'm listening to myself talk right now? And it's like, damn, bitch, get to the fucking point.
Really strong intention and desire and pull to speak to this person. So long story short, we spoke, and now my husband's like, oh my God, I can see why. And I remember him sort of saying to me, you're really sure? And then even someone else on my team was like, I don't know, is it another sort of bro dude? And I'm like, I just feel like it's really important that I revisit this because I spoke to them years before. Now, this is an example of when doubt can come in. And at the end of the day, I have the vision, I have the force, you have your vision, you have the force, and it'll be interesting because people will sometimes question you and you may get thrown off. But getting thrown off is a decision and choice that is only up to you, right? Like you decide. So I decided to let it go, and I sort of validated my decision a few more times. And as I was speaking to it, like, this is my reasoning, and this is why I want to do it, I'm just going to open the door and see. I actually was impressing upon my mind how much I really wanted to do it. I've had a lot of naysayers in my life. I remember when I started making money after losing it all, and I looked after my dad for 3 years with bone cancer, so we lived together. And I remember telling my dad at one point that I was doing well, and I wanted the validation, and I wanted him to know that I was safe, and I was telling him I'm doing well. And
I kind of feel like all of this is basically her admitting she never got validation from her dad, and now she's validating others. Just kidding.
he just ignored me almost. He sort of rolled his eyes. Even when my husband would speak about it and he'd sort of try to stand up for me and say, oh, you know, Ingrid's doing really
Honestly, maybe that wasn't an okay comment for me to make in terms of could be making light of some real trauma she's going through. But it is kind of one of those reasons why I say, like, I do feel like it explains why she is the way she is. And, um, yeah.
well. He would just be like, sort of, you know, and push it off. And I noticed this behavior and I thought, gosh, am I going to take this personally? Or am I just going to let it go? And I'll let it go. And I sort of felt the pain a little bit. I felt a little bit dismissed and whatnot. And then I made a very conscious choice. I'm sharing the story because I think we're sometimes, all of us, surrounded with people who may not get it, especially if you're a visionary woman, a healer, a mystic, a coach working online. A lot of people.
I'm sorry, you can't call yourself a healer and a mystic unless, to me, unless you have very specific cultural connections and are claimed by your community and, you know, like, because those aren't titles you decide you have. They're, at least to my understanding. I'm just gonna not talk. I just
Do not understand what we're doing. They can't process it, especially maybe our parents, and they're not used to the online space as much. Partners, lovers, girlfriends who may not get it. But anyway, so I made this very specific choice, and I'm smiling because it had a really beautiful and funny kind of outcome to me. It's quite humorous to me because I've grown up, like I was a bit like a child, a little bit like a woman girl, sort of, you know, and being kind to myself. Where we've got the little girl in us that all wants love and validation and whatnot. And you know, I did feel a little bit.
I get on one level discussing healing your inner child type ideology, but I don't like the way she's infantilizing herself. Like, oh, I'm just a little girl.
Hurt and dismissed, but I just kept going. And so what I did was every single day, I just kept doing my work, showing up, trusting myself, doing the work, showing up, trusting myself. I built my first program. I started selling my first program, and people started saying yes to me. And I just kept doing it and following through. And before long, over about a year and a half, people started knocking on my door, and sort of people in my family started asking me, oh, well, what are you doing, Ingrid? They began to see that I wasn't dependent.
If someone was knocking on my door because of marketing, I would be scared of shit.
On their validation, that I wasn't looking for approval, that I wasn't looking for their insight, because at the end of the day, it had to come down to my vision and my insight. It was like an embedded code that I'd made around what type of life I wanted for my family, for myself, and the work that I wanted to do. And as I started to, you know, like buy a car or have, you know, start to release my IKEA furniture, not that there's anything wrong with IKEA furniture, and new furniture started to arrive. And people started asking me, you know, what are you doing? And they started to pay attention. Now, if I had allowed myself, and look at the language that I'm using, if I had allowed myself to be derailed, which I've done, I've definitely done that, I would never have risen up the way that I've risen up. I really became really dependent on my own opinion of myself. I had to begin to trust what I was doing, and I just got friggin' busy, put my head down, and started doing it deliberately and consistently. Very important, deliberately. So making sure that my business was growing. I think a lot of times women are not looking at that, not looking at the numbers. Well, what is that behavior and those actions that I'm doing every day? Is it yielding growth? Is it yielding growth? So I worked out pretty young in the game what was going to yield growth for me. And that was really valuing the potency of my work, putting a decent price tag on it. I started getting paid and I started teaching, you know, my biggest hits, you know, the things that I was just so passionate about. Now remember, I've been a journalist from the age of 18. I got my first job at Current Affair. I worked in TV. I was a writer for the Sydney Morning Herald. You name it. I've done so much. So my ability in terms of writing and positioning and marketing, I've been doing it.
So, I can believe that she has had more or less money at different times in her life, as with the human condition, income can fluctuate. However, the way she describes her life, how are you a child prodigy, considering yourself a child prodigy, unless your family had the money to invest into you to be a child prodigy, you know? So to me, that doesn't speak as someone who comes from a childhood of poverty. Uh, and, you know, typically the people who I know who are actual child prodigies that do come from poverty, they don't have to call themselves a prodigy because you can Google it and you know. You know? And when we Google Ingrid Arna, when I Google Ingrid Arna, I don't find out about her being a child prodigy. I find out about her business later in life. So that's why I feel like that's you considering yourself a child prodigy for having been given the resources to be able to do something. The way she speaks about how poor women just need to be manifesting more and doing more and blah blah blah, to me speaks as if she doesn't know what it's like to actually be poor. She may think she knows what it's like to be poor because perhaps she took a hit with her income, but if you're living I just, I, and I don't know her. I could be totally wrong. I could be totally invalidating her lived experience. But her vernacular, I feel, is supporting evidence to give me this impression. Um, and I really forgot why I started bitching about why I don't see her as relatable. But, so this might not make sense anymore because I forgot where my point started. But where my point is going to end now. Fucking is I don't like this bitch still.
For over 20 years. And I just sat down and I crafted my very first high ticket offer. And I sold it within a few weeks. And that was the beginning. And I just kept doing the same thing over and over. Service, delivery, promotion, really making sure that I became a voice on social media. And I began to really release any fear of judgment. So one of the biggest things I think so many women are afraid of, and we teach this, we teach video voice positioning, how to craft and position really saleable, divine video content, how to write incredible copy so that it engages. But at the end of the day,
I also don't think I like her word of the use divine because I don't like anything that exploits or capitalizes off of the concept of spiritual practices because to me that is capitalism is inherently violent and I don't you know what I'm saying? I don't perceive that as spiritual and it's just an oxymoron.
I've had to learn every single part of this and now it's in my courses. But once you learn this and once you give yourself permission to really begin to own your voice, you will become visible, you will become seen, and people will begin to trust you. If you're not seen, if you're hiding, you're not going to create that level of intimacy that is so important because it's really simple. It is just about developing a relationship online, right? It's about developing a beautiful divine relationship. And from that's when you begin to bring in clients. That's when you'll begin to sell. So if you have any fear around really being seen and speaking up like so many women do, I think it's one of the number one fears about public speaking, you just want to start doing it. Start practicing, start getting out there. So I hope I've been able to serve you today. I'm sending you so much love. I'm a little bit slower.
All right, around 43-ish minutes in, the second and perhaps one of the only two things I agree with her on this video besides the other thing I had said where I forgot what it was, but she was basically saying something about like, you have to connect with your audience, and I agreed with that. Well, now she's saying, what was it? God damn it, hold up, my bad. I'm really gonna go back here, hold on.
That's when you begin to bring in clients. That's when you'll begin to sell. So if you have any fear around really being seen and speaking up like so many women do, I think it's one of the number one fears about public speaking, you just want to start doing it.
Yeah. Okay, my bad. Sorry if there's an echo about that because I fucking forgot to turn off my mic. But fucking, yeah, dude. Oh shit, fuck. Did I really just fucking forget? Oh yeah, she's talking about you just gotta start doing this shit. So that is the second thing I do agree with her. Like, a lot of people, we get that imposter or not invader thing, feeling what are those words, syndrome thing, I don't know, fucking to where we're afraid to like take action. But yeah, so the people will be so afraid to fail that they don't get started with marketing or business, and they actually could have an amazing idea and be doing really well. Like, so I do happen to agree with that concept.
Start practicing, start getting out there. So I hope I've been able to serve you today. I'm sending you so much love. I'm a little bit slower today. I'm tired. I'm tired. I think I'm going through my own rebirth and catalyst. I went to Pilates today and I was like really a little bit slower, but I feel that my central nervous system, I've been going through some really deep healings lately, is beginning to relax. I've had a lot of beautiful divine growth personally within myself. So I feel like it's just my body kind of recalibrating. And so what am I going to do to really make sure that I go through, like really restore and embed this, is more rest, more sleep, more stillness, a bit more time for myself as I go into that next dimension, kindness, space. I used to freak out when I would slow down. I used to have a freak out because I was very conditioned growing up to work. So I used to almost have panic attacks around resting, which is just crazy when you think about it. So I don't freak out anymore. I just allow myself to have the space that I need. And then at the same point, I am always about moving forward. So I'm sending you guys so much love.
I'm all about allowing yourself to have the space you need, but not when it comes to you admitting that you tell your employees that you won't help them with their problems.
A million divine blessings. Thank you for being here today. So gorgeous. If you've been listening and you're ready to grow your booming, beautiful online business, or you're ready to take your current business into a whole other divine, juicy stratosphere, schedule a call with one of my strategists. We're going to map out a 4-part plan to radically grow your revenue and your impact with authenticity, grace, and proven strategy. I cannot wait to explore how we can make magic together. So apply for your complimentary strategy call now at ceodivachat.com.
forgot to unmute. Fuck. But there's one more fucking thing she said. I forgot what it was.
That next dimension, kindness, space. I used to freak out when I would slow down.
Okay, yeah. Fucking her talking about where she used to freak out if she would slow down. That I get too, because that is a symptom of being in an abusive household as well. So I do believe her with her trauma response and everything. So but fucking yeah, like, because that's something, and I feel like that's something that I got not only from work culture under colonialism and capitalism, but also from how I was treated by my parents. So I totally do get that panic attack. Like, I do believe she's been going through things with her mental health, and that it's impacted her body. I believe that she is good at marketing, because you have to be good at marketing in order to do what she does. But I don't think that negates the criticisms I have of the harm of her messaging. Um, and the whole your financial liberation begins now. What I don't like about any of that is it kind of implies a guarantee. And even though that guarantee is then disclaimed in the terms and all of that, it's still the way you are getting people into your program, you know? Um, and I also, anytime someone's like, get my shit, it's valued at a really high price, but I'm giving it to you for free. On some level, I do get when you're disclosing the actual amount it would be like if you were to go hire someone to do this, or if someone else were to teach you, or the average pricing. All of those types of strategies I feel are actually valid ways to sell an offer, because it's what's called market-based pricing whenever you compare yourself to what else is on the market. And it's also factoring in value-based or cost-based pricing, where you're talking about the price based on the value you provide, as well as the price based on the costs of the all the shit that goes into production. So fucking, I get all of that on one level, but this wording where you kind of act like this is some big special deal, I don't know. I feel like it discounts what is is done. And the wording, I had the same conflicts, from the whole video. And so I'm not gonna watch another video. Like, if you do keep watching them, like whenever you were hearing the bits where she was talking about positioning and marketing and everything like that in her video, I feel like those types of things are good, and like those are good marketing advice. So if you watch long enough, you'll be getting, I feel, helpful marketing tidbits. But I just feel like her audience is probably primarily white women. Um, and I believe she serves mostly white women, and possibly tokenizes the random people of the global majority that do business with her. Um, Not to laugh at that, but the reason I think that is because of what I perceive as cultural appropriation of spiritual practices from various cultures. You know what I'm saying? Um, And so, just to conclude, which it's a very good thing that I watched this whole thing on 2 times speed, because this is such a long live. It's almost 2 hours, but I can only imagine it would only be even longer if I didn't watch that on 2 speed. So you're welcome. Um, but yeah, fucking, I feel like there's just a lot to reflect on here and to process and to marinate. Um, I think it's a common issue, because she's not the only one I see do this. And I just so happened to, find her on my Facebook, where she came across my feed, for her ads, because I've been engaging with marketing content generally. I tend to see random marketers, um, and so that's how I found out about her. But what I don't like about it is, her utilization of exploitation vulnerabilities and what I perceive as cultures and spiritual practices, um, in order to kind of convince people they're just not manifesting hard enough to build a business. You know what I mean? Um, and I kind of feel like whether or not you agree with me about how I feel about her, this video shows why I feel the way I feel. And I think it's something. I hope it's something that we can all be mindful of in marketing. And I make this video just so people can be aware of these tactics if they see them from others, to reflect on what is their value alignment, and is that necessarily going to be the best place to invest their resources. But yeah, it's all up to you. It's all subjective. I talk a lot. This is a long live. Thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you, and I hope you all have a great night. And yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for watching. You might want to adjust the volume after all of this because a loud music is going to play. So yeah, adjust the volume. And then if you're coming to these lives anyway, I do have a loyalty program, yellowdovechild.com/loyalty. If you sign up for my site as a member and you follow the check-in procedure, you can get points just for showing up to these lives anyway. So I just want to let you know about that. Yeah, I always have a really hard time saying goodbye because saying goodbye really just kind of feels like you're Tom Hanks. You know what I mean? Over here, just like welcome, Wilson. But anywho, yeah. So thank you for being here and goodbye.